Welcome to Towle Talks. Today we're going to talk about the lobby player and how to set up a dynamic UI with each individual lobby player.
So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to start working with the network lobby player. So if I go down to my network lobby player, I'm going to have a little prefab, which we've already made hopefully, and we have the script. The script should be very simple. All it does is extend the network lobby player. So I'll bring this up real quick, although we're not going to deal too much with this right now. And then if I open up my scripts folder, I see I have two here. We're just going to open up lobby player for now. If I open up lobby player, we have the following values. Now again, pause it if you get lost or fall behind. Please pause it and again, continue on. Again, of course, we're using Unity Engine Networking and we're using Unity Engine.ui. What we're going to do is we're going to have two sync var variables. Again, sync vars can only be set on the server, but will be reflected on the client. So we have public string player name, public int choice. Those are two sync vars we're going to have. In fact, those are the only class variables we're going to have for our network lobby player. Disable the UI if it's not the local player. I mean, think about it. If you're in a game lobby, is it really a good idea to see what the user's selecting for their options? So we're going to say if is local player equals false, then we're going to just get the transform of the first child, which will be the only child, dot game object dot set active false, and this will wipe out the UI as we'll see in a moment. Now these two variables are sync var. So when we do our callbacks, I'm not 100% sure if we can call back to a command, but just for sake of demonstration, we're going to call back to a public void set name, which takes a string variable. And then because we can't actually set our name on the client side, and we know it will be the client side because the only time we see the UI is if is local player is true. So we have to immediately invoke command set name and send it in to the command. Again, we'll have the command set name, and here this will be on the server, so the server can set the player name equals to n, and the changes will be reflected on all the clients. Same exact story with set choice, public void set choice int c, and then we can actually here we can do command set choice c as well. Again, invoking the command, going to the server will then set choice equals to C, which will be reflected on the client. Again, pause it if you don't understand what's going on, but this should be fairly straightforward, hopefully by now. We also need to have the public void set ready. This is specifying that we're ready for the game, we're ready for the game to start. And what we're going to do is send ready to begin message, and then we're going to say ready to begin equals true. Now, after this, and this is the equivalent of the ready button in the lobby GUI under the network manager. So if you have the lobby GUI on, this will be the equivalent of the ready button. Again, we have to have public void awake for the lobby lobby player. If you don't have this, the system will not work. Otherwise, this is all there is to the lobby player script. So make sure you have that. Once you have that, we can go back to the Unity, and I'm going to disable this for a moment. Now, I discovered that you could do this a couple different ways. I'm not going to change that. What am I doing? So here's my prefab. This is my network lobby player prefab. And what you're going to do is you're going to add a canvas underneath it. Bear in mind that my event system is a child of network manager. If so, you will not have either of these two things right now. So if you make sure you have an event system so your canvas will work. If I expand my canvas, I'm going to have 4 children, starting with a text that says name, an input field, a drop-down box, and a button that says ready. With this, I want to dynamically map the input field, drop-down, and button back to back to the network lobby player's client functions: set choice, set name, and set ready. I could implement this manually through the prefab. That's one option to do it, and in certain cases like this, it may have been easier. You have to be a little bit careful because if I manually go in here and set my on value changed, then sometimes, not always, sometimes having multiple prefabs can mess up this binding, but usually it'll work fine. So you could actually go through and manually set it. But that gets really cumbersome if you have a lot more options or if you want to dynamically change this. So maybe it depends on what the user selects for their choice. You may want optional stuff to appear. So this kind of gets a little bit awkward to manage. It's not impossible, but a little bit difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a script. It can go anywhere basically here, but I put it on the canvas just to demonstrate for like kind of a demonstration. Yeah, demonstrate for a demonstration. For the sake of teaching, I put the script on the canvas and we'll see what's happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our local player folder. We have our prefab already set and we're going to have our script. We're going to create a script called auto assign. And then once we create it, we're just going to add it to our canvas, which you'll see right here, auto assign. And then we're done with that. We'll open this up. This looks a lot scarier than it is. So the first thing we're going to do, notice it's not even a network behavior. So you don't have to have a network game to use this little trick. I'm going to be getting the individual components in which I want to get the particular callbacks from. So input field, my name, drop down, my choice, and button, my ready. So I have to use using Unity engine.ui to make this work. Otherwise, you will not have these options. Keep in mind that these are the components, not the objects. So I go back to my Unity, I have an input field, but I'm actually going to be getting this, not the game object. I'm getting this. Game object bad, component good. And so here I'm taking advantage of transforms. So I know that my canvas has four different children, and I know that the input field, there's only one input field, there's only one drop down, and there's only one button. I had to be careful if I use this function in situations where there's more than one input field, because I'll only get the first one. So, but because there's only one, I can use this, and I can say my name, this equals this dot transform dot get component in children input field. So it's going to search all my children and look for an input field component and return that. Likewise for choice, get a drop down, and my ready is going to be the transform.get component in children button. There's only one button, so I'll get that component. Keep in mind I'm getting the components, not the game objects. Then I have to find the parent. In fact, I have to find my parent lobby player script in order to make this work. So lobby player script temp equals this dot transform dot parent, and I could do dot get, game object dot get component, or I can just do dot get component and parent, and I'm looking for the lobby player script. Basically, I'm going to be getting the lobby players script that we just talked about right here. After I do that, I'm going to say my name dot on value changed. This is how we add listeners in C#. So this is the event, and then we're going to add a listener, and we're going to say temp dot set name, which will be the input field that we've already, or the set name will be the function we created in lobby player script. Sorry, it's the client side, so it sets the name, and this will invoke the command. And we're going to wash, rinse, and repeat for the other two. So my choice to on value changed, add listener, temp dot set choice. Again, the client side function for setting a choice, and my ready dot on click, add listener, temp dot set ready. This is on click instead of on value changed, but same idea. So once I have this saved, I can run it. You will not have the network manager UI, so don't worry about it if you don't have this part. You won't have this part, but you should be using the network HUD. Make sure I have everything saved on my network prefab. I delete the lobby player. No, delete the lobby player. I can run it. Say host. Now here, if I type my name and I click on my network lobby player, I have my names there, so that's changing. In fact, I can actually type my name, and then I can set my cube to whatever option I want. Notice it's an integer, so. And then eventually, when we get a little bit farther in the tutorial, if you hit ready, you'll spawn whatever object you've selected, and it will have your name on it. You can see that or not. So there's my name. But you haven't got there yet, so we're going to get there later. That is how we're going to dynamically set the lobby player's UI.